Am I the arsehole? For asking my GF to leave my party or change after she showed up in a revealing costume? I 24M have been seeing my GF Rachel 21 for almost 3 months. She's met my family twice before this. I recently decided to throw a Halloween party with my older brother. We're roommates and it was a costume party. It was meant to be kid-friendly, since our older siblings both have children who would be attending and our parents were coming. Rachel was aware of this, and originally told me she was being a witch and showed me her costume which she left at my house. On the night of the party tonight, she showed up early, in a really revealing Jessica Rabbit costume. I'd what those cuts are in the side, but it went up to her waist showing a matching pair of what I assume was underwear, but she called it covering and part of the costume, with a bunch of cleavage exposed. I pulled her aside and told her she knew this was a family-friendly party, and asked why she thought to wear that. She told me it was supposed to be a surprise for me and thought I'd love it. I told her I'd love it any other time, but that she needed to change before people got there. She told me she wouldn't and that it wasn't a big deal and that I was being controlling and overreacting, plus Jessica Rabbit was a kid's character, so I told her either change or leave. Am I the asshole? For telling my sil to stop contacting me and my husband? Long story short. My husband Fred and I got married last month. His sister Sarah has a history of not coming to family events or saying she would go and then not showing up. Fred told her that she is important to him and really wanted her at our wedding. She said she would come, and as you guessed, she didn't make it. She didn't send a text or anything to even say congrats. She finally messaged him yesterday to apologize. After some prying, she admitted that she had the day off but she just forgot about it. Fred told her that he was disappointed and didn't want to talk to her. She wouldn't leave him alone so he blocked her. She messaged me saying that she needs to talk to Fred, or that I should talk to him to get him to unblock her. I told her that I would not be doing that because she knows she was wrong and he was hurt. I told her that he will contact her when he is ready and to not initiate contact with us. She is now calling me names saying that I am in his ear and I'm making him avoid her etc. She's saying I should be trying to help their relationship. Am I the asshole? For not encouraging Fred to speak to her and telling her to stop contacting us? Not the asshole. Who the fuck forgets a sibling's wedding? Not the asshole. If your husband needs space to heal Am I the asshole for saying my GF's comic is terrible? I'm going to make this pretty short. So my girlfriend is an artist and she was interested in making comics again. She is an amazing artist and I know she may go far. However, she pitched a comic idea and I said it was terrible. I could tell it made her upset, but she remained calm and asked me to explain. I said it was okay and that it would be a comic made by a woman for woman. Then she got angry, claiming I was being misogynistic. She said she wants to make comics by a person for people. I told her that in the marketing business she doesn't choose her audience and got even more pissed, saying I was an asshole, and walked out to her room. Am I the asshole here? Info: the comic idea was basically me, my GF, and two friends. In one panel she is giving meaningful advice to one friend who is often depressed, but his guy friends are basically saying just don't be a bitch. I think it was satire to toxic masculinity. She said it wasn't fleshed out. Edit: I meant she has to choose her marketing. Info: did you literally tell her this sucks as like the first form of criticism? Context here definitely matters. What exactly did you say after reading the comic? You're the asshole. First off, just saying something is terrible is not constructive. Give suggestions, explain your feelings about it, but never tell someone their idea is flat out terrible. Especially someone you care about. Second, marketing business, she doesn't choose her audience. What? Do you have any marketing experience at all? Because this is genuinely one of the most asinine justifications I've seen in a long time for someone's stance. Marketing is literally about tailoring to audiences. So, in addition to being a jerk, you're also quite ignorant. You're the asshole. Two principles you should remember. When someone is being vulnerable by asking for feedback on something that's important to them, use a compliment sandwich format. A compliment, a piece of constructive criticism. This part seems weak, and I think it would be better if, and another compliment. There is nothing wrong with a comic made by women for women. That's a strange thing to list as a negative. So why is in your comments, you're apparently a 19-year-old woman just a few months ago? Honestly, I'm relieved to see that this is just a fake. You're the asshole. I know she may go far and an immediate I said it was terrible aren't exactly compatible. It sounds like she told you about a passion of hers and you tore her down. At the very least you two are going to have to talk about this. If this is something you do regularly, I hope she breaks off the relationship. Your negativity borderlines on something toxic. You're the asshole. Oh, this is super shitty, but it will be okay for women, and for more than just women. You won't do shit anyway, so it is okay. And then going to Reddit and be like, am I actually in the wrong here? Lol. Info: why, exactly, did you think it was terrible? Did you have any specific criticisms beyond girl cooties? The irony of making a comic about toxic masculinity only to be confronted by your BF being toxic and misogynistic. You're the asshole. I meant she has to choose her marketing. There was no marketing. You said it was for your friend group. You're just trying to justify your sexist perspective with irrelevant things. You're the asshole. Your girlfriend does have shitty taste in men too. You're the asshole. Your opinion isn't the end-all be-all. You sound insufferable and belittling. A lot of comics back in the day were made for men and still enjoyed by women and everyone in between. Labeling shit as for men or for women is misogynistic. It's assigning a gender to something that is genderless out of some misguided sociological perception of what it means to be feminine or masculine. From a woman's perspective doesn't mean the result is for women. In fact, it is probably something men like you should hear. Get your head out of your negging ass. You're the asshole, misogynistic. Didn't hear her out fully. Who are you? An expert on the comics market? PSSHH. Your duty as a boyfriend is to be supportive, or at least to provide constructive criticism. Yes, you're the asshole. Not everything has to be for men. Christ on a pogo stick. After reading the info, your replies, Not only do I think you're the asshole, but you also sound like one of the guy friends she was depicting. Yup, totally you're the asshole. And I agree with her, your comment sounded misogynistic too. The fact that you deem something terrible because it's for women, or because it's a satire on toxic males, just shows that you are who it's about. You're being a toxic male lamau. You're the asshole for your delivery. You really need to learn how to give constructive feedback. Also, what is this nonsense about not choosing your audience? This is literally what marketing, branding, product design are for. I think we both know you're the you here. I think your girlfriend does it too. I think you don't like being called out. I think that if you love this woman that you could be far more supportive. Pretty sure you're the asshole. If she's talented and passionate, this sucks should not be your first form of criticism. This is coming from an artist. And a person. Who is unconditionally supported by her boyfriend. Who, if he has any critiques, offers them as critiques. He attempts to build me up, and improve my ideas. Not put me down. Or shut down my ideas entirely. You're the asshole, not for saying you don't like the idea, but for saying there's basically no point pursuing it because it won't be marketable. She can pursue creativity for its own sake, not everything has to make fucking money. You're an absolute tit and also probably not a marketing executive and so don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I think you knew before you asked, bud. 100 asshole. You're the asshole in a huge way. You need to learn to support somebody and not be yet another instant no kind of guy. Either that or enjoy a very turbulent dating life well into your 50s. For some reason this reminded me of the episode in The Office where Pam made an amazing comic for Jim and everyone put it down or picked holes in it. You're the asshole huge R. If you have a shred of decency, tell her to look at Webtoons app for ideas and possibly a platform. It has countless comics of every genre and hopefully it could be a place she finds her foothold. You're the asshole. Maybe it was terrible, I can't say. But this is terrible is not feedback. It's useless criticism because it doesn't give the artist anything to build on. It sounds like your qualm with the comic was that it was by a woman for women, so her misogyny claims sound reasonable. Are you also the judgmental type who thinks only sappy women watch chick flicks and read romance novels? You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Maybe she needs a better boyfriend. Sounds like you're the asshole to me. You're the asshole. You know you are too, why even pose the question? You're the asshole for using the word terrible. You need to use better language when you give negative feedback, especially to a partner. You're the asshole. Let her do whatever she wants. You're the asshole. That hardly sounds like constructive criticism. I do agree that you should not restrict your audience too much, but there are better ways to convey your message than to just slam it as terrible saying it sucks. You're the asshole. Moreover, it's pretty clear why she was inspired to write about toxic masculinity. You're the asshole. Pretty sure all the toxic man stuff she puts in her comics is a direct reflection of how you act. Poor girl, hope she wises up before you become worse as a person. Which you will do with age. Oh, the post history makes sense. It would be a comic made for a woman, by a woman. As a guy, this is a problem. Why? You're the asshole. Not the asshole. If a woman's idea is a comic about how rotten men are, don't expect a man to like it. No man should have to listen to criticism of men from women. At least she got one thing right, patriarchy is so far-fetched that it takes an imaginary superhero world to depict it. You're the asshole. It sounds like you could have learned something about toxic masculinity from that comic, and honestly I'm the type of person to get annoyed by how overwhelmingly soy comics like this are usually. I wanna be clear that if you have an artist partner or friend and you don't like their work, you should be honest if they're seeking feedback. But above all else you should be delivering this feedback in a constructive way that is kind to the individual. Am I the asshole? For not caring about making my roommate's mother uncomfortable? Me and my girlfriend, I'm 28M, she's 26F, live in a 2-bedroom apartment. We occupy the bigger one of the bedrooms and sublet the other one. Since July, we have had a new roommate, 20F, a university student. I'll call her Emma. I admit I don't particularly like Emma. I treat her fairly and try to not let it affect my interactions with her, but this could be my blind spot in this whole situation. Anyway, since mid-September, I've had a temporary work placement in a town which is over 3 hours from us by car. Because of the distance, I'm also accommodated on the premises, which is covered by the employer. I come back on Friday evening and then go back again on Sunday evening. The work here should continue until the end of October, then I'll be back to my regular employment. To be honest, I feel quite lonely. There's nothing here to do outside of work. The work is frustrating because I'm getting horrible support from my home company and get all the blame from the people here for things that go wrong or slow. Getting home to my girlfriend is the only bright spot of my week. I'm only mentioning this because I think it's relevant. Anyway, Emma asked us if her mom can visit her for a few days, starting tomorrow. We told her that if it's just a few days, it's not a problem. However, then Emma approached my girlfriend and asked her to ask me if I could not come home this weekend. Apparently, Emma grew up in a pretty conservative household and her mom wouldn't be happy to learn that Emma shared an apartment with a man. Also, she would be definitely super uncomfortable with hearing me and my girlfriend have sex or just see us be affectionate. My girlfriend told her that she doesn't think that's reasonable, but that Emma should ask me personally. So she did, and I told her that this is my apartment too and that I also don't think her request is reasonable. It's no problem for us to have sex when Emma and her mom are out in the city, but I disagree with not coming home at all. Also, if having a male roommate was such an issue for her, she should have found a different apartment. Emma originally accepted it, but I think that with her mom's arrival approaching, she changed her mind. She has been texting me since yesterday that I'm gonna get her into trouble and that it's just one weekend. I had a call with my girlfriend and she said that Emma seems really on edge and is lashing out and we maybe could let her have this weekend to keep the peace. However, we've finally decided to stick to our normal routine. It's the 21st century, Emma's mother should keep up. Does this make us the assholes? Emma's mother's discomfort is not your responsibility to deal with. If she doesn't like the situation, she can find other accommodations. Emma is an adult. I'll get in trouble with my mom is a weak excuse. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Just how does she intend to erase your entire existence from the apartment so thoroughly that her mom won't be suspicious? This is some silly sitcom plot bullshit. You're not responsible for helping uphold the deception. Not the asshole. It's pretty ballsy to ask someone to not come home for a whole weekend. It's her problem, not yours. Not the asshole. If Emma cares that much, she should pay for a local hotel so you and your GF can enjoy a weekend together without her mom finding out Emma lives within 500 feet of a penis. If she really is lashing out at your GF and you because she decided to move into an apartment with a man and her mommy doesn't like that, I'd find the first opportunity to not renew her lease. Perhaps even looking at evicting her. That's drastic, but so is her behavior. Not the asshole. If you give in now, she'll demand it every time. Clearly, she wasn't truthful with mama. She's 20 and needs to learn to deal with her mom. That's not your problem to solve. Not the asshole. Like you said, if she didn't want a male roommate, why did she decide to live with a male roommate? Not your problem. Emma approached my girlfriend and asked her to ask me if I could not come home this weekend. Apparently, Emma grew up in a pretty conservative household and her mom wouldn't be happy to learn that Emma shared an apartment with a man. Not the asshole. Emma is an adult and if mommy is mad, that's not your problem. Fuck that. The nerve to ask someone to not come home because their parent might not like who they live with, my god, that's rich. Her mom can get over it or Emma can move out. This is her problem, don't let it be yours. Not the asshole. You live there. The person subletting from you doesn't get to kick you out. She's also 20 and needs to learn to stand up to her asshole parents. Not the asshole. Emma is extremely overstepping. It's your apartment and it's wildly inappropriate to expect you to not be home. It's Emma's problem with her mom, not yours. I hugely disagree with keeping the peace just because she's being a brat now. If Emma continues to be a problem, give her the boot. Not the asshole. You have no obligation to give an accommodation for her mother's preferences. Every point you made is solid. The problem is truly hers and she should have considered that before she offered to put her mom up. Not the asshole. Presumably, Emma invited her mother, or at least agreed to the visit, knowing this would be an issue. If Emma was a close friend, maybe you'd feel inclined to stay away to do her a favor. But she's not, and with your whole work situation, it sounds like your time with your girlfriend is especially important right now. Not the asshole reminds me of an old roommate I had. I was already at the house and she was looking at a newly vacant room. She was prejudiced against older single white guys and cats. I'm an older single white guy with a cat. She was upset that I was breathing the same air as her and would call the landlady at the drop of a hat for everything I did. Long story short, she moved out and I'm still there and the landlady and I have a little laugh about it. She brought all of this on herself. It's your apartment that she is renting a room in. If she didn't fess up to super conservative mom about where she lives, it's no skin off of your back. Not the asshole. Also, what if the mom comes frequently? Are you supposed to hide every time? Also, after spending that much time away from home, I'd be dying to sleep in my own bed and be with my GF if I were you. Go home. Tell your roommate she's an adult and needs to stand up for herself. What the heck? Not the asshole. That apartment is your home, not Emma's mother's. You have a right to be at home as regular. It is not your fault Emma's family is conservative. It is not your fault Emma had moved into an apartment with man while her mother might visit and be uncomfortable. All this mess is Emma's and it's not your responsibility to fix that. Not the asshole. The things we do to keep the peace sometimes set precedents and don't actually end up keeping the peace at all. You don't need to give reasons for saying no that invites solutions to the reasons, just say no. Not the asshole. I mean, this is just stupid. If Emma is so headset about lying to her mom, she can take ownership of that by renting an Airbnb for the weekend and taking her mom there for her visit. Hell no, you don't get to kick out a paying occupant from their own goddamn home because a guest might be upset. Fuck that noise. If this was a deal breaker for her, the time for her to realize that was well before she signed the lease with you. Not the asshole. What keeps Mama from snooping in that bedroom when nobody's home? Emma needs a spine. Not the asshole. If the mother is that upset over it, maybe they want to fund a nice hotel for you to stay in with your girlfriend for the weekend? Or better yet, the mom can pay for a new place to stay in and not bother you all any further. Sounds to me like she's spoiled by the very people she's trying to not have around you, as the audacity to ask someone not to come home to their own home amazes me. Do not give her this ridiculous request, as you will be solidifying this spoiled entitled behavior. Emma needs to navigate this issue, not you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's on Emma to have found a living situation that worked for her. You should not have to rearrange your life for her. If you do it this time, she'll expect it next time. It also puts your girlfriend in the position of having to lie as well. That's not acceptable. And also, if her mom is staying there, the odds are really good that she'll find something that indicates there's another male roommate. Not to generalize, but moms do tend to snoop. Then it's not only that she has a male roommate, but she lied about it. But also, this living situation sounds like it's going to be a problem. Am I the asshole for telling my wife she isn't doing enough to confront her coworker? My wife and I have been married for 7 years, we are in our early 30s. She rejoined work a few months ago after mat leave and has a new co-worker in her team. She immediately thought he was weird and tried to keep her distance, but he was pushy. Over the past couple of months, he's started flirting with her, complimenting the way she dresses, says things like the view from my desk is fantastic while looking at her. I want to be clear that I 100% trust my wife. But she's getting upset about his comments. I told her to go speak to HR or to speak to this guy directly and tell him to stop. But she keeps making excuses. I got pretty upset at her and told her it's clearly affecting her and it's annoying she isn't doing something to address it. She says I'm an asshole for getting upset at her without understanding why she can't do it. What do I do? Am I the asshole? Reported a number of men who had harassed me. It was a group effort because they said they'd see who would get me. I was engaged at the time. Got told off by HR and said many would kill for my job so I can go. You're the asshole. She is getting harassed at work and you feel the need to clarify that you trust her. Your wife just returned to work after mat leave, which can often be a precarious moment to have to prove yourself all over at your job. Shouldn't be but often is. Some creep is bugging her. She has to decide if it is even safe to confront him, if it's easier to avoid him, if other co-workers and HR would side with her. It is a delicate balance for her to try to get the harassment to stop while preserving her career. Get over yourself and support your wife and whatever she decides to do. I've never spoken to a woman who has reported harassment in the workplace and it's gone well for her. Myself included. It's a sad truth that we just learn to deal with it instead of risking losing our job or worse. You're the asshole. Your wife is being sexually harassed at work and you're basically blaming her for it at this point. Just letting you know that reporting sexual harassment very often leads to no consequences for anyone else but the person reporting it. You're the asshole. Can you please consider all the reasons a woman does not confront a pushy man? Your wife would simply be scared. HR isn't very helpful with such topics and talking to the guy directly puts her in danger. He already showed that he is unimpressed by her ignoring him. You are blaming your wife for the actions of someone else. Yay. You're the asshole for getting mad at her. It's hard navigating unwanted attention in the workplace. A lot of people will still label women as sensitive complainers. He has been there longer than her and he probably won't get fired, so she will have to keep dealing with him and he will be salty and mad. What she may want to do is talk to some other female co-workers and get their take or some strategies from them. For sure this isn't the first time he has behaved this way and they may know the best strategy. She's probably worried about her job, about how her co-workers will react to her and about whether she will even be believed if she goes to HR. He's probably a really nice guy who doesn't mean any harm and it's just his way. She needs to learn to take a compliment and be less stuck up before trying to ruin a good guy's career. It's really not an easy thing to confront. She should mention it to a supervisor, of course, but maybe they are all friends and she's the new girl, so talk it through and come up with a plan together. Don't tell her what she should do but ask her what she is comfortable doing. You're the asshole. That's sexual harassment. Kinda weird in general how you're cool with her getting harassed and can turn very ugly real quick. If he's that delusional that he doesn't know how inappropriately he's behaving, then he could totally think she's into him and make a move. If she refuses, then he could easily think she was leading him on the whole time and escalate. Women are scared for a reason. Don't you ever dare try and stop her from trusting her guts. Support her and help her find a new job if it goes wrong. BC, we all know women who report stuff are usually the ones getting fired. BC, we still live in a patriarchy. You're the asshole. Listen, for women this is such a hard situation. We get penalized if we speak up. We become the problem. The sexual harasser almost never reaps the consequences. The emotional woman who just came back from maternity leave is the one who will get the consequences, not this creepy guy. Catch my drift? You're making this about you. You're the asshole. She doesn't want to be murdered. You're the asshole. When women refuse. She wants you to say, "That's messed up, babe. I love you and can't believe this is happening. I trust you will find the way to deal with this." You're the asshole. Initially I was going to say no holes here, then switched to soft you're the asshole, but now you seem even a bigger asshole. The way you are not trying to understand the position of your wife, saying she isn't doing anything, to saying you trust your wife, then implying she might be enjoying this. 3. Making this about you and getting upset at her for saying she keeps making excuses like, do you think she likes it? Did you ask her for one goddamn second why she hates the idea of reporting to HR? You're the asshole. I'm sure your wife is sick of you mansplaining something you will never understand. Do you know what happened when I confronted a coworker over his actions? I was put up against the fridge with his hand around my neck. You have no bloody idea and are talking from a privileged position. You're the asshole for getting mad at her. Women get murdered or retaliated against all the time for rejecting men's advances. You're the asshole for not understanding how difficult it is to be a woman in this situation. You're the asshole. You clearly don't get why she can't do that without hurting her career or making things worse. Do some reading, ask some questions. You're the asshole. X200B. Instead of being supportive, you are making sure she faces the same pressure at home that she faces at work. You're the asshole. I work in construction and was verbally and physically harassed relentlessly on the job. The one and only time I reported it was when I literally feared for my life. They put the entire company through mandatory sexual harassment training and every single person on the site knew exactly who and why. I had to be transferred to a new site a month later because everyone became immediately hostile to me over it. It's not that easy. But she keeps making excuses. She says I'm an asshole for getting upset at her without understanding why she can't do it. Info: what are her excuses? Info: haven't seen you answering this, so I asked, what kind of excuses is she telling you? I think you are unintentionally you're the asshole because you haven't experienced being a woman. Workplaces are not much better than high school, where the bullies are protected and their victims are punished. Things that happen when women report harassment in the workplace. They get labeled as a troublemaker and their careers suffer. The bully feels slighted and their behavior escalates. They get bullied until they quit. They get fired for false allegations, etc. etc. You now understand why your wife is wary of speaking up. The time I went and reported it, I was told I was wrong, and the guy's wife was a stripper, so he had no need to be saying the things he was saying. I even had witnesses that stated they heard him say those things didn't matter. My shift is changed. I need to getting less hours. It taught me to keep my mouth shut when your wife says what she's saying to you about the way she's handling it. She's not lying. She's having to learn to play the game, which is a sad statement, but it's the truth. I have to add this. Everyone thinks the job of HR is to protect the employee. It's not, it's to protect the employer. You're the asshole, if only for recommending that she go to HR. HR is not her friend and will immediately see her as a liability that needs to be removed from the company. Yes and no. As a man, you don't have an understanding of how intimidating and uncomfortable the position your wife is in can be. If she makes a stink about this, she could be labeled a troublemaker and it could affect her career. Obviously you want to help, and reporting him, asking him to stop does seem like the obvious answer. I feel like you're the asshole for getting annoyed at her, though she's probably already stressed from the situation at work. You're the asshole. I'm not even going to give my reasons why, because I honestly don't think you're capable of understanding them. She needs to articulate to you why she can't do it, but I get it. Women are still discriminated against in the workplace. I was sexually harassed by a senior guy with a great reputation who had gotten an award for his ethical values. There was no way I was coming away from any complaints unscathed. I was devastated, but left it alone. Nah. Would I be the asshole if I didn't pay for my stepkid's private schooling? I have one child. My husband has 4 kids, 13F, 11M, 8F, 6F with his ex-wife. Their divorce was very amicable and he gladly pays for his ex's home and cash support as she was a stay-at-home mother. This amounts to close to 8K a month. He makes 250K, 15K a month net, while I make 400K, around 23K a month, varies. I would guess his ex makes 60K a year now. We live in a high cost of living city, so ex's house is only 3 beds and ours is 4 beds, almost 10K a month. Before marrying me he lived in a studio down the street and he would take the kids during his days but put them to bed at our house. I lived in a 2-bedroom paying 4K, so my daughter had her own room. Now, his kids share a room at our house when they are here 30 of the time. We have an uneven amount of kids and can't afford a 6-bedroom. I have put my daughter in her own bedroom. She's only 2 months younger than my oldest stepdaughter and is with us almost all the time. Her father is out of state and I receive meager child support. Between that and my daughter at 10 and 5. Things are not going well. My nephew is angry that he was taken from his family. He doesn't want to know my brother. He does not want a relationship with Sil or the kids. He's angry and is refusing to engage in the therapy my brother put him in. He ran away twice. He has had lots of trouble in school, which is not surprising really. It's been rough. He talks to me some. He told me as far as he is concerned they can all rot in hell, and if he's hurting their poor little feelings then it's too bad, so sad, and they better get used to it, because once he can, he's going home and won't speak to any of them again and fuck blood, because blood means fucking nothing. It's worth noting that his maternal family are not blood. His mom and her sister were adopted and he is aware of this and does not have much of an interest in blood ties generally. My brother and Sil are frustrated that things are not starting to show signs of improvement. My brother mentioned that the kids have been upset by the rejection and wanted to know why he was so mean to everyone and didn't give them a chance to be a family. I said nothing to him and just heard him out, but he said I had a look on my face and asked me about it, and then I told him he should never have made his son move in. I told him he went against what his son wanted and now he was living with the consequences. I said whether he likes it or not, his son doesn't give a shit that he's his bio father. He cares that when he was grieving the worst loss a kid can imagine, he was torn from the people he loved to live with strangers. My brother said he did the right thing and he could love them too if he would give them a chance. But he's being stubborn and refusing, and I am not helping things by saying he's wrong and his son is right. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your brother has his head in the sand. His son has a family, a support system that he was uprooted from to be forced to live with strangers that he was expected to play happy families with, somewhere he doesn't know and hates because of this. Not the asshole. But your brother is. He ripped away his son from his friends, from his family he loves, and is expecting that everything will be sorted out with time. Maybe he can save this relationship with his son when he is letting him go to his home he took him away. But if he does not, as soon the son is turning 18, I bet that will be the last time he saw his son. A relationship needs time to grow and he need to understand that what he did was cruel to his son. That was not love, that was ownership. Not the asshole, you are right. Your brother could have still taken the time to get to know his son, without ripping him away from the only family he's ever known while grieving his mother. He's being selfish. He can still let him go back, but with visitation to get to know him. I understand he wants to know his son and step up, but he's meant to do what's best for the son, not himself. Not the asshole, your brother isn't listening to or understanding his son. The boy has lost his mom, his home, his school and friends, and his grandparents in a matter of weeks. He's now living with strangers who have no connection to his former life and refuse to empathize with how unhappy he is with the situation. Dad and step are frustrated and angry, kids are upset, and they don't understand why the magic wand of therapy isn't making him happy. This is all about their feelings and how the boy should adapt to fit in. As soon as the kid hits 18, he'll be gone. And they will be to blame for the anger and resentment that kid will carry. Would you brother consider a shared time with the grandparents might make things a bit better for all sides? Any relationship has to happen organically. You can't just shoehorn a person into an established family against their will and expect it to work out when DNA is the only thing you have in common. Also, I find your brother to be not only insensitive but extremely arrogant that he expects this boy to be happy that he wants him just because he donated the sperm that created him. His bio mom shares some blame as well. She had a hand in creating this situation. That poor kid. Please share this post with your brother, maybe it will open his eyes. My father chose not to be in my life, so I promised myself if I ever had a child I would be in their life. I would be incredibly angry if I was denied that chance, but I would never rip a child from their life they know. Not the asshole. That poor kid. He's going to run away again. Your brother is a fool who is living in a fantasy. Yes, he didn't know his son existed, but that doesn't mean his son wants anything to do with him, and he doesn't. Op said the child is 15. If your family is in the US, then after he turns 16, he could make a case to go back to his maternal family. It's what he wants and he'll be considered old enough by then. Otherwise, your nephew will continue to raise hell until he's 18. Let your nephew know you'll continue to support him. Good luck. Natar, the truth hurts. Not the asshole. I think your brother is in a terrible situation tbh, and I do feel bad for him because it sounds to me like he's trying to make up for lost time and be the father he wasn't allowed to be. But that's not something he can force, and if he keeps pushing he's just gonna drive his son away. Not the asshole. Your brother is focusing on what's best for him and not his son. I suspect the kid is waiting until he turns 18 so he can leave for good. Not the asshole. It's a good thing your nephew has you in his corner. What does the rest of the family say about this? Not the asshole. Your brother was crazy to think that a 15-year-old would come around after expressing his want to stay with the grandparents and the life he had built there. It was actually pretty selfish of your brother not to take the kid's feelings into account and go against his wishes. I would understand if he was a toddler, but not when he's 15. Not the asshole. Maybe if your brother hadn't forced his son to move in with them, his son might have been willing to have a relationship with him. Not the asshole. Might be why the ex never told him about his son. He is so focused on his rights that he isn't doing what is right. The dead mom is the A for denying your brother a chance to know his son from day one and vice versa. That time can never be gotten back. It's just a sad situation all around. The kid is right. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I think what your brother means is I focused on my own wants and needs. I'm hoping I can just bulldozer over my son's wants and needs, and you're not helping by telling the truth. Not the asshole. Your brother is being unbelievably cruel. It almost sounds like he's subconsciously doing this to hurt his ex who is dead. Is there any way your nephew can speak to a social worker to find out if he has any say at all in who has custody? I cannot believe that a court would agree to rip him away from the only family he's ever known, in a stable, loving home, to live with total strangers where he's miserable just because of DNA. Not the asshole. Brother chose poorly and perhaps selfishly. Maybe even to spite a deceased ex. Whatever the reasoning was, he did not do it for the benefit of the child, which makes him an R. In the UK you can't add a father to the birth certificate without their knowledge. Is this really a thing where you are? Isn't that a little frightening that anybody could just add your name? Doesn't the state go after them for any child support? If he wants a relationship with his son, it needs to start slow. It may never recover at this point. Not the asshole. Might ask the brother how he intends to enforce that love. The kid is only there because the legal system is enforcing it. Brother is describing Stockholm Syndrome, not love. Am I the asshole? For making the same food for the whole week and refusing to change it up. I live with my boyfriend and I have been meal prepping. It has been wonderful. I learned I am fine eating the same thing in a week and it actually saves me money. This week I am having salads for lunch, and yesterday I made a lot of spicy chicken that I will use for quesadillas and maybe nachos, until Thursday. The problem is my boyfriend hates it. He gets sick of eating it after 1 or 2 days. He comes home from work really late also, so him cooking isn't great for it. I told him the quesadilla plan, we got into an argument. He called me inconsiderate for mother was less helpful. We had a FaceTimed mid-August about housing options, then my mother randomly asked me about if my partner was on the pill. I said yes and I've seen her take it, and she asked if I was sure. Almost like she was insinuating that I was baby trapped. I have had worries about my sister. I'm happy she's excited, but I feel sometimes she's too much. She was talking about having the baby every weekend so we could do stuff as a couple, and I said we have to consider both families. She was also concerned about us moving a bit closer to my girlfriend's family than mine. She said I wouldn't get as much support and questioned the support from my partners as her mother lives 2 hours away. I said she comes down every weekend to look after her mother with dementia, we'll be fine. My sister offered to pay for our gender reveal scan. We both thought this was a lovely gesture and said yes. My sister understandably wanted to come because she's paying for it. My sister told me that the one she was booking allowed up to 5 people to come and suggested we bring my mum along. I then said if she's coming, then my girlfriend's mum should come too. She disagreed because it's the only involvement they'll have during the pregnancy and my girlfriend's family will be at other events. We said it's not about who we're including, it's about having support during a personal appointment, and my girlfriend doesn't want only all my family there. My mum previously said either it's just my family or no scan. I said fine, we'll pay for it ourselves. My sister then messaged my girlfriend to explain her reasoning, which left her in tears. She also said my family like to do things separate and they're a bit antisocial. They think meeting my girlfriend's mum at the scan will be awkward. We think this kind of reasoning is selfish and not putting our wishes first. My mum and sister are getting me to understand their reasoning. I do understand it, I just don't agree with it. My girlfriend's mum isn't bothered by them not wanting her there, just more by how it's affected us. She told me not to worry about them and hugged me. She said she's happy to pay for it and for me to invite whoever I want. This is a post here because despite many agreements about our side of things, I have doubt because my sister was going to pay for it. And I was considering my dad, but my girlfriend's mum believes that would anger my family. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Any help or gifts with strings attached. Don't do it. Never ever. So absolutely not the asshole. This wasn't an offer of a gift, it was a power play. You said no to your sister's conditions, because she made your pregnant partner cry. Good for you, keep setting boundaries. Congratulations and best wishes. Not the asshole. Your mom chewed you out for calling her with the baby news. I was already scratching my head at that, and you seem to accept that makes you an asshole. With crap like that permeating your life, it's no wonder you're on here for the rest of this. Your mom and sister sound like real pieces of work, I'm sorry to say. Your mom goes on to insinuate you were baby trapped, then her and your sister go on to say only your side of the family should be in on gender scan? It doesn't matter who's paying for it, everything regarding your life is for you to decide who's included. Your girlfriend's mom sounds like truly a gem, by the way. Not the asshole. I personally wouldn't accept their offers to pay for things like this moving forward either, because it seems like they're going to use these things as control over you and your girlfriend and will throw these nice gestures in your face when they don't get their own way. Not the asshole. This sounds like your mom and sister are making this pregnancy and baby about them. It's absolutely not. They are not the parents. Not the asshole. Pregnancy is not a bloody group project. Your family are way too involved in this and creating drama for no reason. Not the asshole. It's not really a gift if it comes attached with a bunch of conditions. They're using this to exclude your wife's family for whatever reason. You're better off paying for the scan yourself so you aren't pressured into doing what they want. Not the asshole. Start setting boundaries now, because if you don't, your sister and mother are going to walk all over you, especially your girlfriend. Not the asshole. Shut this shit down now. You are not entering into custody agreement with your sister. It is not her baby. I'm sorry, but it's time to set up a heck of a lot of boundaries now before the next argument of who's going to be in the room for birth. Your family is overstepping a lot. Protect her, your GF, the mother of your child. I think she needs to block your family on her phone. Your sister is being manipulative and making a pregnant woman cry. I'm wondering about all the demands once the baby is here and shuddering. This baby is not only yours but a part of GF family. Not the asshole. It seems your family has some control issues. Your sister only offered to pay for the scan so she could hold it over your head, so you do as she says, i.e. it was help with strings attached. I would be wary of any offer of help from them because it will come with strings attached. Look at how your Mill reacted when you talked to her about it and compare it to how your family behaves when it comes to the situation at hand. Not the asshole. Keep siding with your partner, and start going lower contact with your mum and sister. They are starting to get controlling, which will only get worse after the baby is born. Set boundaries now, do not let them overstep, keep them back. Do not let your sister or mother have the baby to stay with them alone, ever. I would not trust them. Not the asshole. The anatomy scan is usually such a big milestone because it's also the anomaly scan. It's not just a fun ultrasound, it's a serious medical appointment, unless you're intending to just go to an ultrasound boutique and do extra scans. Regardless of which one you're doing, your girlfriend is the pregnant one and she needs to be comfortable with who's going to be there. Your sister controlling who can and can't go like it's her appointment instead of a gift of payment is absurd. Not the asshole. A lot of your post is about what your sister wants. Does she want the baby? Yikes, your family is bonkers. Get away from them as far away as you can manage. They're stomping on boundaries. Your sister is plotting to practically commandeer your baby, your mother wants the baby retroactively blamed away, and none of them seem to care about your feelings, or your girlfriend's, at all. Block your ditzy relatives. You're not the asshole here. Not the asshole, and good that you stood up for your core family. Your mother's and sister's behavior is not at all okay. They treat your GF as an object incubator by inserting themselves into a doctor's appointment and deciding who else can or cannot attend the spectacle. Also, paying for something with such conditions is not a gift. A gift would be paying for it and letting you decide if, and whom you wanted to be there. Keep putting your foot down and set hard boundaries now. It's only going to get way worse once baby is born. Not the asshole, and to be honest, your side of the family sounds pretty toxic, to be honest. I know that sounds dramatic, but consider aside from all the rest, there's absolutely no way that your mother should be upset about hearing about the pregnancy over the phone. Absolutely nothing wrong with that in the slightest. Yet she was apparently upset at you. And just that little thing has you thinking that you're possibly an asshole. Sounds to me like you've been wrong your whole life and are constantly having to apologize. Does your sister ever do things wrong? Could she be considered a golden child by any chance? Not the asshole. Your family are trying to push your girlfriend's family out of the picture. Not the asshole. But what I just read was extremely concerning. Can your sister not have children and really wants them? I just super possessive vibes from her about the unborn baby. And the fact they are already acting like this is super strange. Luckily your partner's mum sounds super cool and like she has what's best for you and your partner at the forefront of her mind. I feel like there is more to this than your mum and sister are letting on. It's really strange behavior, especially offering to take the baby every weekend. Am I the asshole? For telling my friend her baby is the reason no one wants her around? One of my F24 friends, Anu F24, had a baby around 6 months back. Our friend group is otherwise childless. All of us used to hang out a lot before the baby was born. Baby changed dynamics because Anna wanted to bring the baby everywhere with her, and it's a baby. We tried to plan things around baby to include Anna, but it always ended up badly. We shouldn't drink, cause Anna can't drink. We shouldn't be loud cause baby needs to sleep. Icing on the cake is her baby is extremely fussy and cries all the time. It was just a downer for rest of us. So we started hanging out without Anna and her baby. Last weekend all of us went on a staycation. We had a great time and posted photos and videos on Instagram. Anna saw these and called me to ask why I did not ask her to come with. I tried telling her it was a last-minute plan and we could only find a child-free resort so as to not hurt her feelings. She called my bluff, sending me pics some random family had posted with kids at the resort. She kept forcing me and I told her we did not want to hang out with her baby. She asked how can I say that about her baby. I asked her to leave it at that, but she wouldn't. I finally told her it's a baby and we are all young. We don't want to live our life around a baby she chose to have. That we get to do adult stuff and party all we wanted. Her baby is the only reason she wasn't invited. If she left baby at home she can come too. She got pissed off at me and called me a. She also sent a text in group chat saying she is disappointed in all of us for excluding her just because she is a mom. Half of our friend group thinks I should not have told her the real reason and is mad at me. Other half thinks she is unreasonable. Am I the asshole for telling her the truth? From comments we have tried to communicate to her about adults-only events before. Other than openly saying don't come if you have to bring your baby. She refuses to leave baby with her boyfriend or babysitter. Even when we say an event is adults only, like a dinner we had a few weeks ago, she still brought her baby. Am I the asshole? For telling my dad that if his wife censors what I read I won't visit him anymore? My dad's parental rights were terminated due to abandonment. Didn't pay child support and didn't contact me for over a year, telling us he didn't want me to see him at his worst alcoholism. He said he's start trying now though. Already started going to alcohol rehab, so my mom started taking me to visit him during the weekends. At first it was going fine. A little bit awkward getting to know each other again. Then my dad's new wife and I had an argument. On that day Mom had decided that I should spend the night at Dad's place. I brought a book with me. My dad's wife saw it and told me I should not read that book since the protagonist is bisexual and it pushes LGBT stuff if it's relevant. It's book 2 of the Trials of Apollo series. I told her she can't dictate what I read since I'm not a kid and she's not my mom, and Dad quickly jumped to her defense. He said she is still his wife, telling me I shouldn't be rude to her in her home. So I told him fine. I'm not staying then. And I left and went home. Mom said I don't have to go back there if I don't want to, so I told my dad when he called later on that if he doesn't talk to his wife and tell her she can't censor what I read, I won't be returning. He said what I said was threatening him. Not the asshole. She's not your mom, and he lost his legal rights. He said what I said was threatening him. Don't let him play the victim. This isn't a threat as no harm will come to him regardless of the outcome. His wife is displaying bigoted behavior, stick to your guns. All she has to do is say nothing about your book. Should be easy enough. Not the asshole your father abandoned you. Sounds like it's time to reciprocate. Your dad's wife has absolutely no rights or say in this matter. Stay with mom and enjoy your book. You're 16. If you were 11 and understood the vocabulary in the book, I'd say the same thing. It's a book. No one has the right to put braces on your brain. Not the asshole. Some 16-year-olds go to college. So, yes. You most certainly are entitled to select your own leisure reading material. Catcher in the Rye, Lord of the Flies and Song of Solomon are typical required reading for high school sophomores. What on earth does your father's wife think you should be reading? Dr. Seuss? Not the asshole. You did nothing wrong. He has no parental rights and she has less than none. This is literally like me trying to tell you what you can read. Not the asshole. Come on, that's not a threat, it's a promise. Apparently he's willing to let his wife make his parenting choices, and she's choosing to be the evil stepmother. I hesitate to put it this way, but he's abandoning you for the second time. You never signed up to have a new and overly restrictive mother. You're well justified to stand your ground. Not the asshole. Dad and his wife doesn't need to be in your life if they're that dumb. Also ask her, how come with an overabundance of straight books and media for however long it's been, there are still gay people? Almost like sexuality isn't influenced by any kind of medium. Not the asshole. Threatening him? No. Not even close. Not the asshole. Your dad completely blew it. What a ridiculous hill for him to die on. Someone barely older than you trying to decide what books are appropriate? Laughable. Not the asshole. She literally has no right to tell you what you read, but seems like he made his choice and it's her. This isn't a threat. It's a choice. You choose to allow me to read what I want to, or you choose to not have me come over. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, bud. She clearly has a homophobia problem, but that's not your problem. I don't think your response was rude at all. You are correct, she is in no way your parent and has no right trying to dictate what you read. I'm proud of you for reading and I'm proud of you for setting your own boundaries, even though they feel complicated sometimes. Damn, dear old dad didn't even try, did he? Nor not the asshole op, you're right, she can't dictate what you can't read, and if dad thinks she can, you don't need to visit him. You gave dad a chance and he royally blew it. Not the asshole. Don't go back. She's shown you what she thinks of LGBTQ people and likely will not change. I understand wanting to spend time with your dad. Maybe you can do that somewhere else. Go for a walk, go to the museum, go to a movie. You can spend time together, get to know each other and rebuild a relationship if that's what you're interested in doing. Good for you for standing up for yourself. Not the asshole. I could understand concern if you were reading like, Sarah J. Maas or something, but Trials of Apollo? That's perfectly age-appropriate and really good. I hope you're enjoying the series. Dad's wife is just a bigot. Not the asshole. That's awful, at least you have one good parent. Hug your mom tight. I can't put into words how lucky you are to have her. Not the asshole. Your father is choosing to nuke your relationship again over pandering to a homophobe. Inexcusable. Not the asshole. Even if he hadn't abounded you, he has no right to refuse your reading. Book banning is fascist. Not the asshole. Your dad needs to recognize he isn't a parent anymore, and even if he was, even a parent can't dictate what a teen can read. Never mind some random lady dad married. She needs to be reminded what place she has in your life, as in non-existent. Just like her authority. Not the asshole. You're not threatening him, you're setting a boundary. If she's going to censor what you read, you won't go over there anymore. Cause and effect. Not the asshole. This tentative reunification is not something he has a right to. You are absolutely allowed to set reasonable boundaries, and I will not visit if my reading will be censored or censored is a very reasonable boundary. I would have a trace of sympathy for her position if we were talking about 50 Shades of Grey or Anne Rice's Sleeping Beauty trilogy, but this series is perfectly age-appropriate. Not the asshole. I am a severe bibliomaniac and would flat out MR anyone who tried to censor my books. I read stuff that was way more inappropriate at a younger age than you. I haven't read that one yet, but unless it has a very descriptive orgy I am not going to say anything. If it does, I would say something about how you might not want to read that section and why. Give a short lecture about fantasy versus real life. If you have questions, please ask an adult, not another teen. Not the asshole. You did nothing wrong. Not the asshole. They can't tell you what to read and you don't have any obligation to visit. Not the asshole at all. I could read at an adult level by the time I was 8 or 9, and I picked up everything in the house. Read Pet Sematary in one night when I was 9. She sounds ignorant, and if your dad wants a relationship with you, he needs to check her real quick. No, Dad. It isn't a threat. It is a boundary. I will read what I want to read without getting lambasted for it. I will not have my books censored as I am not a young child. If that is unacceptable to you, then I will not visit your home. We will need to meet elsewhere. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He chose his gay-hating young wife over you and also common decency. Hope the sex is worth it to him. Your father abandoned any parental authority when he abandoned you and refused to pay child support. His new wife certainly doesn't have any parental authority over you. So not the asshole for challenging them. To be honest, it sounds like your father's new wife engineered this deliberately to further drive a wedge between you. She may think that your father needs to completely break with his past to remain sober, or she may simply see you as a challenge to her control over your father. Either way, even if you were to give on the issue of book censorship, some other issue would be created until you reached the point that you had to leave. Not the asshole. She's 28 years old and married to a 40-year-old alcoholic who abandoned his kid and disapproves of a book because there's a bisexual character in it. Both her and your father can go pound sand. Easy. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She's worried that Apollo Lester, a Greek god, might be bisexual. Goodness, if she learns anything else about Greek mythology she may faint, and gods help us all if she reads Oedipus. Am I the asshole? For not wanting to invite my atheist niece to my son's bar mitzvah? To give some background. I have 3 kids. A 12-year-old boy. a 9-year-old boy, a 6-year-old girl. I also have a 17-year-old stepson that moved in with us when he started high school. I am Jewish, my husband is agnostic but was raised Jehovah's Witness, and my stepson is agnostic. We are raising the 3 kids we have together in the Jewish faith. My husband and his sisters have a complicated relationship with religion. They were raised JWs until my husband was 11. His mom died a few years before that and his dad ended up leaving the church. They went to a non-denominational Christian church after that. My husband's younger sister has a 15-year-old daughter, who I will refer to as Kayla from now on. Edit. Thanks for the comments. I decided that I will have a talk with Kayla on being respectful